Big news hits Earth. It was a normal Tuesday morning when everything changed. The sun rose as usual, people went to work, and kids complained about going to school. No one knew that by lunchtime, the whole world would be different. At exactly 11:43 a.m., every TV, radio, and phone on Earth buzzed with the same message. It came from space, from something called the Galactic Council. People everywhere stopped what they were doing to listen. A deep voice spoke in all languages at once. People of Earth, we have news that will change your world. We are the Galactic Council, and we have been watching you for a long time. We have a big secret to share. We have a huge space army, and we're showing it to you now. As the voice spoke, the sky lit up. Suddenly, huge ships appeared above every major city on Earth. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built. Some looked like giant flying saucers, others like massive triangles. They just hung there, silent and scary. In New York, a hot dog seller named Joe looked up and dropped his tongs. "Holy moly!" he shouted. People around him were pointing and screaming. Some tried to run, but where could they go? In Beijing, a young girl named Lai was in math class when she saw the ships through the window. She tugged on her teacher's sleeve and pointed. Soon, the whole class was at the windows, their mouths open in shock. Over in London, the Queen was having her tea when a servant ran in, his face white as a sheet. "Your Majesty," he gasped, "you need to see this." Even the Queen's famous calmness was shaken when she saw the massive ships over Buckingham Palace. Back in America, the president was quickly taken to a safe room deep under the White House. His advisors were running around like headless chickens, shouting about aliens and invasions. The president tried to stay calm, but his hand shook as he asked for more information. All over the world, it was the same story. People were scared, confused, and amazed. Some thought it was the end of the world. Others were excited about meeting aliens. Most just didn't know what to think. News reporters tried to cover the story, but what could they say? Big alien ships in the sky, film at 11, didn't seem to cover it. They showed pictures of the ships and read out the alien message over and over. On social media, things went crazy. #alien invasion and #Galactic Council became the top trending topics in seconds. People posted pictures and videos of the ships. Some claimed they saw little green men. Others said it was all a big trick. Scientists were the busiest of all. They rushed to their labs and observatories, trying to learn more about the ships. How did they appear out of nowhere? What kind of technology could do that? And most importantly, were the aliens friendly or not? As the day went on, more news came from the Galactic Council. They said they weren't here to hurt anyone. They just wanted to talk. They asked to meet with Earth's leaders. This made people feel a little better, but not much. After all, the aliens had just shown that they could park huge ships over every city on Earth without anyone noticing. What else could they do? World leaders tried to calm everyone down. The U.S. president went on TV and said, "My fellow Americans, and indeed, fellow citizens of Earth, we are facing an unprecedented situation. But we must not panic. We will face this together, as one planet." Other leaders said similar things, but it was hard not to worry. People started stocking up on food and water. Some even built bunkers in their backyards. As night fell, the alien ships lit up like Christmas trees. It was beautiful, but also terrifying. No one knew what the next day would bring. In homes around the world, families huddled together. Parents tried to explain to their kids what was happening, but how could they? They didn't understand it themselves. One little boy in Australia summed it up best. As he looked up at the glowing ships from his bedroom window, he asked his mom, "Are we still going to have school tomorrow?" His mom laughed and hugged him tight. "I don't know, sweetie," she said. "I really don't know." As the world tried to sleep that night, one thing was clear: nothing would ever be the same again. The day Earth learned it wasn't alone in the universe had come. and it had come with a bang. Everyone gets worried. The sun rose on a very different world the next day. The alien ships still hung in the sky, silent reminders that everything had changed. As people woke up and remembered yesterday wasn't a dream, a new feeling spread across the earth. Worry. World leaders were the first to jump into action. In Washington, D.C., the president hadn't slept all night. His hair was messy and his tie was crooked as he met with his team. "What do we know?" he asked, his voice rough from too much coffee. "Not much, sir," said his chief advisor. "The aliens say they're friendly, but that fleet doesn't look friendly to me." The president nodded. "Get me the other world leaders on the phone. We need to work together on this." Similar scenes played out in capitals around the world. In Moscow, Beijing, London, and Paris, leaders struggled to understand what was happening. They all asked the same questions. What do the aliens want? Are we in danger? What should we do? As the big shots talked, regular people started to panic. In New York, long lines formed outside grocery stores. People wanted to stock up on food and water, just in case. "I'm not taking any chances," said Maria, a mom of 3, as she filled her cart with canned beans and bottled water. Who knows what those aliens might do? Next to her, an old man named Frank nodded. "I lived through the Cold War," he said. "Never thought I'd see anything scarier than that. But this takes the cake." The scene was the same in cities and towns everywhere. People rushed to buy supplies, emptying store shelves in hours. Some fights broke out over the last loaf of bread or gallon of milk. On TV and the internet, things were getting crazy. News channels ran nonstop coverage of the alien ships. Experts of all kinds shared their thoughts, even though no one really knew what was going on. "The aliens could be peaceful explorers," said one scientist on CNN. "Or they could be here to eat us all," shouted a wild-eyed man on a YouTube video that was going viral. People didn't know who to believe. Every time they looked up and saw those huge ships, they felt scared all over again. Social media was on fire. #AlienInvasion was still trending, joined by new tags like #EndOffTheWorld and #WhatDoTheyWant. People shared all sorts of stories and theories. At SpaceFan22 tweeted, "I heard the aliens can read our minds. Watch what you think." At Not Scared posted, "It's all fake news. Those are just holograms in the sky." In schools, teachers tried to calm their students, but it wasn't easy when they were scared too. In a high school in Chicago, Mrs. Johnson's history class turned into a discussion about aliens. "Do you think they'll let us visit their planets?" asked one excited student. "What if they make us their slaves?" worried another. Mrs. Johnson sighed. "We don't know anything for sure yet," she said. "But remember, humans have faced big challenges before. We'll get through this too." As the day went on, more strange things started happening. In some places, all electronics stopped working for a few minutes. Was it the aliens? No one knew for sure, but it made people even more nervous. Religious leaders tried to comfort their followers. In Rome, the Pope spoke to a huge crowd. "We must not fear," he said. "If these beings are truly our galactic neighbors, we must greet them with open hearts." But not everyone felt so welcoming. In many countries, people started protesting. They carried signs saying things like "Aliens go home" and "Earth for humans." Some of these protests turned into riots, keeping police busy all day. Scientists were working nonstop too. They tried to learn more about the alien ships, but it wasn't easy. The ships seemed to be made of something that Earth's best scanners couldn't understand. "It's like trying to study a smartphone with a magnifying glass," complained Dr. Lee, a top scientist. "We're just too far behind our technology." As night fell again, a new worry hit everyone. What if the aliens attacked while people slept? Many decided not to go to bed at all. They stayed up, watching the sky and waiting. In a small town in Texas, a group of friends sat on a porch, staring up at the stars and the alien ship that now joined them. "You know," said Tom, sipping his beer, I always thought if aliens came, it'd be exciting. But now, I'm just scared. His friend Sarah nodded. Yeah, but think about it. Whatever happens next, we're living through the biggest moment in human history. That's kind of cool, right? They all thought about that for a while. It was true. Everything was different now. The whole human race was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. As the world tried to sleep for the second night, one question was on everyone's mind. What would tomorrow bring? Humans fight back. As the third day dawned, something changed in the air. The shock was wearing off, and a new feeling was taking over: determination. Humans weren't going to just sit around and wait for the aliens to do something. It was time to fight back. In military bases around the world, soldiers sprang into action. Generals barked orders, and soon the skies were filled with fighter jets, and the oceans churned with submarines. They might not be able to match the alien technology, but they were going to try. "We may be outgunned," said General Rodriguez at the Pentagon, "but we're not going down without a fight." Meanwhile, in a secret underground lab, the world's top scientists were working around the clock. They had a crazy idea. What if they could hack the alien ships? Dr. Emma Chen, a computer genius, hadn't slept in 48 hours. Her eyes were red, but they sparkled with excitement. "If we can just understand their communication system," she muttered, "we might be able to shut down their fleet." Next to her, Dr. Amit Patel was tinkering with a strange-looking gun. "And if we can reverse engineer their technology," he added, "we might be able to defend ourselves." The lab was a hive of activity, with sparks flying and computers humming. It looked like a mix between a sci-fi movie set and a mad scientist's workshop. But it wasn't just the military and scientists who were fighting back. Regular people were doing their part too. In New York, a group of street artists painted a massive mural on the side of a building. It showed Earth with arms, boxing against a starry alien ship. "Earth's not going down easy," it proclaimed in bold letters. On social media, #HumanityUnited started trending. People shared stories of courage and hope, reminding each other that humans had overcome big challenges before. At History Buff tweeted, "Remember, we survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars. We can handle some space visitors." In schools, teachers organized Human Pride Days. Kids made posters about Earth's achievements and sang songs about human resilience. Little Timmy, age 7, stood up in class and declared, "My dad says if aliens can cross space, they must be smart. But we're smart too. We invented pizza." His teacher, Mrs. Garcia, couldn't help but smile. "That's right, Timmy," she said. "We have a lot to be proud of." Even in the business world, people were fighting back in their own way. Tech companies raced to develop new defense systems. Car factories switched to making armored vehicles. Everyone wanted to help. Mark Zhang, CEO of a small robotics company, announced, "We're offering our entire fleet of drones to the military. If those aliens want a piece of Earth, they'll have to get through us first." In the political arena, something amazing was happening. For the first time ever, world leaders were truly united. Old enemies put aside their differences to face this new threat together. At the United Nations, the General Assembly room was packed. The Secretary General stood at the podium, his face grim but determined. "Today," he said, "we are not Americans, Russians, Chinese, or Europeans. We are Earthlings. And we stand together." The room erupted in applause. It was a historic moment. But perhaps the most surprising response came from an unexpected place. Silicon Valley. A group of young tech geniuses had an idea so crazy, it just might work. Led by 23-year-old coding prodigy Zoe Walker, they were developing the global AR, augmented reality, game. The idea: to turn the whole alien situation into a worldwide strategy game. "If we can get everyone on Earth playing," Zoe explained, her eyes shining, "we might come up with strategies the military would never think of. Plus, it'll keep people's spirits up." The game, called Earth Defense Force, was an instant hit. Within hours of its release, millions of people were playing, sharing ideas, and feeling like they were part of the solution. As night fell on the third day, the mood on Earth had shifted. Yes, there were still alien ships in the sky. Yes, the future was uncertain. But humans weren't cowering in fear anymore. In a small cafe in Paris, an old man sipped his coffee and looked up at the alien ship hovering over the Eiffel Tower. "You know," he said to the waiter, "I was scared at first. But now I'm curious to see what we humans will do next. We're quite resourceful when we need to be." The waiter nodded. "Au revoir, monsieur. Those aliens might have fancy ships, but they don't know who they're dealing with." As the world prepared for another night under the watchful eyes of the alien fleet, there was a new energy in the air. Humans were scared, yes, but they were also ready to face whatever came next, together. The aliens had revealed their secret fleet, but humanity was revealing something too. An unbreakable spirit and a determination to fight back, no matter the odds, face to face with aliens. The fourth day since the aliens appeared dawned with a surprise. The Galactic Council had sent a message. They wanted to meet, face to face, with humans. The news spread like wildfire. People everywhere buzzed with excitement and fear. Who would go? What would happen? World leaders quickly gathered to decide. After hours of debate, they chose a team. 5 humans to represent all of Earth. Dr. Sarah Chen, the brilliant scientist who'd been working on alien tech, was picked for her smarts. Next was General James Rodriguez, to show Earth's strength. Maria Gomes, a kind-hearted teacher, was chosen to show Earth's compassion. Kwame Osai, a wise elder from Ghana, represented Earth's wisdom. Last was Yuki Tanaka, a young climate activist, to speak for Earth's future. As the team prepared to leave, the whole world watched. News channels showed nothing else. Social media exploded with messages of support and worry. At Earth United tweeted, "Good luck, Earth team. We're all counting on you." The meeting place, a neutral spot in Earth's orbit. A small Earth ship would dock with the alien vessel. It was time. As the Earth ship took off, millions watched. In Times Square, people crowded around giant screens. In small villages, families huddled around radios. Everyone held their breath. Inside the ship, the Earth team tried to stay calm. Dr. Chen fiddled with her tablet, running last-minute checks. General Rodriguez sat stiffly, eyes forward. Maria whispered a prayer. Kwame closed his eyes, deep in thought. Yuki couldn't stop looking out the window, amazed at the view of Earth below. "Look at that," Yuki said softly. "From up here, you can't see any borders, just one beautiful blue planet." The others nodded. It was a powerful reminder of what they were fighting for. Suddenly, a huge shadow fell over them. They looked up and gasped. The alien ship was enormous, like a floating city in space. It shimmered with strange lights and seemed to bend the very space around it. "Holy cow," breathed General Rodriguez. "That's intimidating." As they got closer, an opening appeared in the alien ship. Their little Earth ship was swallowed up, entering a vast docking bay. With a soft thunk, they landed. For a moment, no one moved. Then Dr. Chen stood up. "Well," she said with a nervous smile, "shall we?" They stepped out of their ship and into the alien world. The air felt different, lighter, somehow. Strange lights pulsed along the walls. The floor hummed beneath their feet. And then they saw them. The aliens. They weren't little green men or giant monsters. They were beautiful, tall, graceful beings that seemed to shimmer like the northern lights. They had no mouths, but their thoughts echoed in the humans' minds. "Welcome, people of Earth," the alien voice said in their heads. "We are the Galactic Council." The human team was stunned. This was really happening. They were talking to aliens. Maria was the first to find her voice. "Hello," she said. We come in peace, representing all of Earth. The aliens' colors shifted, showing what might have been amusement. Peace, the voice in their head said. Is that why your world bristles with weapons pointed at us? General Rodriguez stepped forward. Can you blame us? You show up with a massive fleet, scaring everyone. What did you expect? The aliens' colors darkened. We expected curiosity, not fear. We came to welcome you to the galactic community. Now it was Quaim's turn to speak. Forgive us, he said calmly. We are a young species, and your arrival was quite a shock. Perhaps we can start again. The aliens seemed to consider this. Then, to everyone's surprise, they began to change shape. In moments, they looked almost human, though still shimmering with otherworldly light. Better, the alien leader asked, now speaking with a real voice. We thought a familiar form might help. Yuki couldn't contain her excitement anymore. This is amazing. She burst out. We have so many questions about your technology, your society, your plans for Earth. The alien leader raised a hand. All in good time, young one. First, we must address the misunderstanding that led to this tense situation. Dr. Chen, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. Yes, please explain. Why did you keep your fleet secret? Why reveal it now? The alien's face showed what might have been a smile. Ah, that's the heart of the matter, isn't it? Well, humans, prepare yourselves. The answer might surprise you. As the conversation continued, back on Earth, people waited anxiously. What was happening up there? What would this mean for humanity's future? In homes, offices, and public squares around the world, humans clung to each other, hoping for good news. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, resting on the shoulders of 5 brave representatives. The meeting that would decide Earth's future had begun, and nothing would ever be the same again. Making new friends. The alien leader's words hung in the air. The 5 human representatives leaned forward, eager to hear the explanation for all the fear and panic of the past few days. You see, the alien began, our fleet wasn't meant to scare you. It was meant to protect you. Dr. Chen's eyebrows shot up. Protect us? From what? The alien's face grew serious. There are dangers in the galaxy you cannot imagine. We've been watching Earth for centuries, waiting for the right time to reveal ourselves. We wanted you to be ready. General Rodriguez frowned. Ready for what exactly? To join us, the alien said simply. To become part of the Galactic Council. The humans exchanged shocked looks. This was not what they expected at all. Quaim, the wise elder, spoke up. But why now? Why reveal yourselves in such a dramatic way? The alien leader sighed, a very human-like gesture. We made a mistake. We thought showing our strength would make you feel safe. Instead, it made you afraid. We're sorry for that. Maria, the teacher, smiled gently. Well, we're here now. Why don't you tell us more about this Galactic Council? As the alien began to explain, something amazing happened. The walls of the room seemed to melt away, replaced by a stunning view of the galaxy. Stars and planets swirled around them. Yuki gasped, "It's beautiful." The alien nodded. "This is our home, all of ours. The Galactic Council is made up of thousands of species from all over the galaxy. We work together, learn from each other, explore the universe." As they talked, the humans began to relax. The aliens weren't so different after all. They had families. They told jokes, even if the humans didn't always get them. They were curious about Earth. One alien, who called himself Zix, was particularly interested in human music. "We've picked up your radio signals for years," he said. "This rock and roll is fascinating." General Rodriguez couldn't help but laugh. "Wait till you hear hip-hop," he said. Meanwhile, Dr. Chen was deep in conversation with an alien scientist. They were comparing notes on quantum physics, and both were amazed at what they could learn from each other. "Your understanding of dark matter is incredible," Dr. Chen said. her eyes shining with excitement. The alien scientist bobbed his shimmering head. "And your theories on parallel universes are most intriguing," he replied. As the hours passed, the humans almost forgot they were on a spaceship. They were too busy making new friends. But not everyone was convinced. Back on Earth, people were getting impatient. Why hadn't they heard anything? What was happening up there? In the White House, the president paced back and forth. "We should have heard something by now," he muttered. Just then, a message came through. It was from the human team, and it was broadcast all over the world. On screens everywhere, people saw their representatives standing side by side with the aliens. They looked happy, excited even. "People of Earth," Maria began, her voice filled with joy. "We have amazing news. The aliens, our new friends, want to welcome us into a galactic community." A cheer went up around the world. In New York, people hugged strangers in the street. In Tokyo, crowds gathered in parks, looking up at the sky with wonder instead of fear. But some were still worried. "How do we know we can trust them?" people asked. As if answering their doubts, the alien ships in Earth's skies began to change. They shifted and transformed, turning into beautiful works of art. Giant flowers bloomed over cities, rainbow bridges stretched between continents. "A gift," the alien leader explained, "to show our good intentions." The fear that had gripped the world for days began to melt away, replaced by a sense of wonder and possibility. Back on the alien ship, Yuki turned to her new alien friend. "So, what happens now?" she asked. The alien smiled, or at least, that's what it looked like. Now the real adventure begins. Are you ready to see the wonders of the galaxy?" Yuki looked at her fellow humans. They all nodded, grinning from ear to ear. "We're ready," Yuki said. As the human team prepared to return to Earth with their incredible news, they knew everything had changed. The world they were going back to wasn't the same one they had left. Earth was no longer alone in the universe. They had made new friends, alien friends. And together, they were about to embark on the greatest adventure in human history. The future was no longer something to fear. It was something to look forward to, filled with endless possibilities and new discoveries. As their ship headed back to Earth, the 5 humans couldn't stop smiling. They couldn't wait to tell everyone. The aliens weren't invaders. They were neighbors. And they had just invited Earth to the biggest, most exciting block party in the galaxy. Humans saved the day. Just as Earth was getting used to the idea of being part of a galactic community, trouble struck. The human team had been back on Earth for a week, sharing stories of their amazing space adventure, when an urgent message came from the Galactic Council. "We need your help," the alien voice said, echoing in the minds of world leaders. "A terrible danger is coming. We've never seen anything like it." The President of the United States called an emergency meeting. In a room full of serious faces, he asked, "What kind of danger are we talking about?" Dr. Chen, who had become Earth's top alien expert, explained. "It's a space storm," she said, her voice grave, "but not like anything we've ever seen. It's huge, powerful, and heading straight for the most populated part of the galaxy." General Rodriguez leaned forward. "Can't the aliens stop it? They have all that fancy tech." Dr. Chen shook her head. "That's the problem. Their tech doesn't work against this storm. It's shutting down all their systems." The room fell silent. Then, a voice piped up from the back. It was Yuki, the young climate activist. "What about our tech?" she asked. "It's simpler, but maybe that's what we need." Everyone turned to look at her. The president nodded slowly. "Go on," he said. Yuki took a deep breath. "On Earth, we've been dealing with storms and natural disasters for centuries. We've got tools and methods that don't rely on advanced tech. What if we could use those?" Dr. Chen's eyes lit up. "That's brilliant," she exclaimed. "Our primitive technology might be exactly what we need." The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. All over the world, People worked together to come up with ideas. It was like a global brainstorming session. In Japan, a team of engineers designed giant space umbrellas based on their typhoon-resistant buildings. In the Netherlands, experts in fighting rising sea levels created a plan to redirect the space storm's energy. In Africa, traditional rainmakers shared ancient wisdom about weather patterns. Even kids got involved. A group of students in Brazil came up with the idea of using sound waves to disrupt the storm, inspired by how they use music to calm down during thunderstorms. As ideas poured in, the aliens watched in amazement. They had never seen a species work together like this before. Humans are so creative, one alien said to another. They think in ways we never imagined. Finally, it was time to put the plan into action. A team of humans, along with their new alien friends, set off in a fleet of ships. Some were advanced alien vessels, others were good old-fashioned Earth rockets. As they approached the storm, everyone held their breath. It was massive, a swirling vortex of energy that made the worst Earth hurricane look like a gentle breeze. "Ready?" Dr. Chen asked over the radio. "Ready," came the reply from ships around the galaxy. They sprang into action. The space umbrellas unfurled, creating a shield against the storm's energy. Giant mirrors, hastily built in Earth's orbit, reflected the storm's light, weakening it. Sound generators blasted disruptive waves into the heart of the storm. On planets below, aliens and humans worked side by side. They built old-fashioned storm shelters, set up early warning systems, and prepared for the worst. For hours, they battled the storm. It was tough going. At times, it seemed like they might fail. But humans, if nothing else, are stubborn. They didn't give up. Just when things looked darkest, Yuki had another idea. "What if we don't fight the storm?" she said. "What if we dance with it?" Everyone was confused, but Yuki explained. She talked about surfers riding waves, about martial artists using an opponent's strength against them. "Let's stop pushing against the storm," she said. "Let's guide it instead." It was a crazy idea, but at this point, they were ready to try anything. They changed tactics. Instead of blocking the storm, they created channels for it to flow through. They used the storm's own energy to power their defenses. Bit by bit, the storm began to weaken. And then, almost suddenly, it was over. The storm dissipated, breaking apart into harmless wisps of energy. For a moment, there was silence. Then, cheers erupted across the galaxy. Humans and aliens celebrated together. They had done it. As the teens returned home, they were greeted as heroes. But it wasn't just the humans who had gone to space who were celebrated. Every person who had contributed an idea, who had worked to make those ideas reality, was a hero. In the Galactic Council chamber, the alien leader stood to address the assembly. Beings from thousands of worlds listened in. Today, the leader said, "We saw something extraordinary. We saw a young species, new to the galactic stage, rise up and save us all. Humans of Earth, we thank you. You have more than earned your place among the stars." Back on Earth, people looked up at the night sky with new eyes. Those distant points of light weren't just stars anymore. They were neighbors, friends, fellow adventurers in the great cosmic journey. And humanity. They were ready for whatever the universe might throw at them next. After all, they had just saved the galaxy. What could be harder than that? Humans joined the Space Club. 1 year had passed since the day the aliens first appeared in Earth's skies. 1 year since the panic, the fear, and then the amazing adventure that followed. And now, it was time for the biggest celebration in human history. Today was the day Earth officially joined the Galactic Council. In every city, town, and village around the world, people were getting ready for the party. Streets were decorated with flags showing Earth and alien worlds side by side. Kids wore costumes of their favorite alien species. Even pets got in on the act, with dogs sporting antennae and cats painted in swirling galaxy patterns. But the real action was happening in New York City. The UN building had been transformed. A massive hologram of the Milky Way floated above it, visible for miles around. Alien ships of all shapes and sizes filled the sky, their lights twinkling like extra stars. Inside the building, world leaders gathered, but they weren't alone. Beings from 100 different worlds stood with them, a rainbow of colors, shapes, and sizes. Some floated, some rolled, some changed shape as they moved. It was like the best sci-fi movie come to life. In the center of it all stood the 5 humans who had first met the aliens face to face. Dr. Chen, General Rodriguez, Maria, Quaim, and Yuki. They looked around in wonder, still amazed by how much had changed. "Can you believe it?" Yuki whispered to Maria. "A year ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. Now look at us." Maria smiled. "It's incredible. And to think, we're just getting started." The alien leader stepped forward, silencing the excited chatter. In the past year, humans had gotten used to the telepathic way aliens spoke, their thoughts appearing directly in people's minds. "Friends," the alien's voice echoed in everyone's heads. "Today it is a historic day. Today we welcome Earth into the Galactic Council." Cheers erupted, both from humans and aliens. Some aliens flashed bright colors to show their excitement. Others emitted sweet smells or melodic tones. It was a riot for the senses. The alien continued. "In the short time we've known humans, they've amazed us. They saved us from a terrible danger. They've shown creativity, courage, and kindness. They've made our galaxy a better place." Dr. Chen stepped forward to speak for Earth. She looked out at the incredible audience and took a deep breath. "Thank you," she began. "A year ago, we were scared of what was out there. Now we're excited. We have so much to learn, so much to share. We promise to be good neighbors and true friends." As she spoke, screens around the world showed the ceremony. In a small village in India, a group of children cheered. In a cafe in Paris, people raised their glasses in a toast. On a farm in Kansas, a family hugged each other, tears in their eyes. The alien leader raised a shimmering tentacle. And now, to make it official, a hologram appeared, floating in the air. It was a document, written in hundreds of languages, including all of Earth's. At the bottom was a blank space. "Who will sign for Earth?" the alien asked. There was a moment of silence. Then, from the back of the room, a small voice said, "I think we all should." Everyone turned to look. It was a young boy, maybe 10 years old. He had won a global contest to attend the ceremony. The alien leader's colors shifted, and what humans had learned was a smile. "What a wonderful idea," the alien said. "Yes, let all of Earth sign." And so, in an amazing feat of technology and cooperation, that's what happened. All around the world, people signed their names. They used phones, computers, even specially designed alien tech. Names in every language, in every script, began to fill the document. It took hours, but no one minded. It was a moment everyone wanted to be part of. By the time it was done, billions of names covered the document, forming a beautiful pattern that looked like Earth itself. As the last name was signed, a cheer went up that could probably be heard across the galaxy. Earth was officially part of the Galactic Council. The party that followed was like nothing Earth had ever seen. Alien music mixed with human songs. People tasted foods from distant worlds. Children played with alien kids, their laughter a universal language. As the celebration went on, Dr. Chen found a quiet moment with her alien friend, Zix. "So," she said, "what happens now?" Zix's colors swirled excitedly. Now the real fun begins. There are worlds to explore, mysteries to solve, wonders to discover. And we'll do it all together." Dr. Chen smiled. She looked up at the star-filled sky, now filled with promise and adventure. "You know," she said, "I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." Zix's colors pulsed in agreement. "No, my dear human friend. It's the beginning of a beautiful future." As fireworks lit up the sky, some from Earth, some creating impossible alien patterns, humanity looked to the stars with new eyes. They weren't just points of light anymore. They were doorways to adventure, gateways to new friends, paths to a future brighter than they had ever imagined. Earth had joined the Space Club, and the party was just getting started.